So, looks like no Henry Cejudo for Aljamain Sterling, the bantamweight champion. That was a matchup that's been rumored and talked about and rumored for Perth, Australia, but now it's confirmed it ain't happening on that date. Aljo wanted time off. But now it's confirmed by the UFC, according to Sean O'Malley, that it will not be Sterling's next defense. Instead, Aljo's next defense will be Sugar Sean O'Malley, which I know a lot of fans are not going to be happy about, given how Sean O'Malley robbed Peter Yan last month. Dana, though, he already confirmed before UFC 281 that the winner of O'Malley and Yan was next in line for the belt. So it sounds like Dana is keeping his word. According to Sean O'Malley on ESPN MMA, he did an interview saying that he was told by the UFC that he is next for the Funk Master. And I guess it makes sense, because what else are you going to do with Sean O'Malley, right? He's the number one contender. He beat the number one guy, former champion who has history with the current champion. And even though O'Malley didn't win that fight against Yan, he proved that he's one of the elites of this division. He's not all hyped, and he's not all hype, and he showed that, yeah, he is the real deal. He can hang with these top guys, of course, regardless of the outcome of the Yan fight. But the decision was given to him, and it's a win on the record books. You know, on Sherdog, it's W with the color green. So he's got the win. He's got the momentum. And because O'Malley's he's a star basically for the UFC, why not strike the iron while it's hot? Aljamain Sterling actually did make a good point recently in an interview, saying that because O'Malley's got this momentum, he just beat Yan, even though he didn't really beat Yan. Still, a win's a win, right? Aljo basically said it best. He didn't say this verbatim. He didn't say strike the iron while it's hot, but that's basically the context of what he's saying, that it's better to give O'Malley the shot now than risk having him go backwards and lose to somebody else. And then the UFC loses out on their big star fighting for the belt after earning that number one spot in a hard-fought battle. And speaking of Aljamain Sterling wants to fight Sean O'Malley. So if that's what the champ wants, and the UFC says that this guy's next for the champ, then it looks like we're going to get Sugar Sean O'Malley, the Sugar Show, versus the Funk Master, Aljamain Sterling. And it looks like O'Malley will likely get his second loss in 3 years, because they're going to fight in 2023, and that's 3 years removed from his loss to Cheeto in 2020. So, yeah, I mean, whatever. I guess fair is fair. I mean, what else are you going to do with Aljo? Who else are you going to have him fight? If not Cejudo, you can't make him fight Yan, who's coming off 2 losses. You can maybe give it to Cheeto Vera, but he might have a bit more work to do. You know, he's ranked behind O'Malley. And then you can't give it to Corey. He's coming off literally 1 win after losing 2 in a row, and he has a loss to the champion where he was dominated. So you can't give it to him. And Merab, even though he's like the second highest ranked outside of O'Malley, him and Aljo are like good buddies, and they're never going to fight each other. So there's only one option for the champ, if not Cejudo. And that man is Sugar Sean O'Malley. And I think, yeah, more than likely, how the matchup plays out, I think Aljamain Sterling should win stylistically. I'm not going to underestimate Sean, though. Sean could improve, you know, from that Peter Yan fight. Yes, he got taken down a bunch of times, but he showed he can get back up. However, Aljamain Sterling is better at controlling people on the mat than Peter Yan. Let's be real. Yan is not really used to actively wrestling a lot in his fights, because Yan is mainly a striker, but Aljamain Sterling is more of a wrestler. You know, he will stick to the wrestling. He'll use his wrestling, and he can keep guys down mainly through backpacking them, you know, getting them in that body triangle. So it doesn't matter if O'Malley can get back up. He's got to get up without having Sterling's legs wrapped around his waist, because if he gets to that point, O'Malley's in trouble, and he'll probably get tapped out. Although I'm sure he's going to be well prepared. His camp is going to be prepared to survive bad situations on the ground. I think Sterling, all he needs is 1 takedown, 1 back take, and he likely wins. even if he doesn't finish O'Malley right away, say he doesn't get a first round sub, he gets a takedown, 1 round worth of control time, and then he can just repeat it round after round before he eventually gets that sub. But it wouldn't surprise me if O'Malley does manage to survive to a decision and loses from just being taken down and controlled over and over. It could play out that way, but either way, I think stylistically Sterling is a horrible matchup for Sean O'Malley. But wouldn't it be funny if Sugar Sean O'Malley managed to pull it off against Aljamain Sterling? If he went through Peter Yan and Aljo back-to-back, who are 2 of the best in that division, and he has wins over both, that's going to be insane. And then you can no longer doubt Sugar Sean O'Malley. Like, if he becomes the world champion after beating Yan, nothing but respect for the guy. But he's got his hands full with Aljamain Sterling in this classic striker versus grappler matchup. Not my ideal kind of fight. You know, I'm not very excited for this matchup because, like I said, I think it's going to be kind of an easy win for Sterling. And I like to see Aljo get challenged against a guy like Cejudo. I wish Yan could have got the decision so I could have seen this trilogy get completed between Yan and Sterling. Tougher fight for Aljo. This is almost kind of like a free win like his last fight against TJ Dillashaw, but we'll see. I guess that's the next fight. Sterling versus O'Malley. Let's see what happens. I kind of hope O'Malley wins. Nothing against Aljamain Sterling, though. It's just I kind of like to see O'Malley shock the world and pull off something crazy against such a bad matchup. Probably isn't going to happen, but it is what it is. Let me know what you guys think in the comments.